Welcome back to Vision Miner 3D Printing News. Today we've got Canadian researchers printing tusks for walruses. We've got optics manufacturers Zeiss printing parts for production, along with Boeing qualifying a new aerospace material, and Airbus putting actual parts into the sky, along with BMW printing parts at the track. A 51-foot yacht made with a 3D printed mold, and a really cool community highlight that you won't want to miss. So stick with me and let's get right into it. Alright, so let's start with the walruses. We've got Canadian researchers 3D printing metal tusk caps to protect the dental health of the endangered walruses. Researchers over at Canadian ETS Engineering School, along with the Université de Montréal, have 3D printed protective crowns for the tusks of an endangered walrus sheltered over at the Aquarium du Québec. The aquarium's 4 walruses recently moved to a new habitat, but they were concerned about the concrete surfaces damaging their tusks. Walruses love to pull themselves out of the water using their tusks like extra legs. The rough surfaces kind of pose a risk for their dental abscesses. This practice of walking on their teeth poses no problem in a natural environment made of ice and soil, explained Dr. Claire Grosset, a professor of zoological medicine at the Université de Montréal. But things are different in a habitat composed of concrete, metal, and other materials selected to withstand these animals, whose weight can reach more than a ton. Now, other tusk caps have been produced in the past using traditional methods, but for this one, they went through a variety of different metals and alloys and ended up using cobalt chrome because it has very good wear resistance and it resists oxidation in the salt water. 3 different caps were produced, offering different clearances between 0.25 millimeters and 0.45 millimeters to the tusk. The different size options allowed the procedure's veterinary surgeon to choose the optimal device that wouldn't weaken the adhesive's bond or prevent it from fitting tightly to the ivory. There's one thing I can say, and this walrus is going to have the coolest grill compared to its natural counterparts. Moving right along, we've got Zeiss finding greater sustainability through additive manufacturing. So Zeiss Consumer Products has been doing a lot of things in 3D printing for a while, and you probably know them from camera lenses to laser lenses and things of that nature. They deal in optics. So through 3D printing, they've managed to lower their costs and save energy and reduce their CO2 emissions. They started doing this back in 2017, and they say, "We saw great potential in additive, so we spent 4 months conducting intensive research, testing, and networking as part of a strategic project," explains Zeiss head of process engineering. "Working with both external providers and colleagues within the company, we quickly realized that we needed to have all the relevant expertise in-house and to invest in our very own 3D printers." Now, this is something we've definitely found to be true here at Vision Miner as we sell all these machines, and having people in there on a daily basis that can work on your parts is a big benefit. So Zeiss primarily uses 3D printing for production tools such as assembly and special tools designed in-house, and they operate various styles of printers. So in several subdivisions, including their cinematography and lens assembly, 90% of all assembly tools are now created using 3D printing. As for the sustainability of it all, they said the new printed tools are made of artificial resin and have largely replaced the machine tools from aluminum. Why is this important? As they say, it's important to note that the aluminum production consumes a lot of energy, and the material's many alloys means it cannot simply be recycled as is. At the same time, a 3D printer consumes much less energy than a cutting machine, so in terms of energy balance, the process wins both the material used and its processing. This is translated to a savings of some 12,000 kilowatt hours in electrical power and 6.6 tons of CO2 in the first year alone. 3D printing also expands their design options, as they say there are certain recesses or voids that simply cannot be achieved with machining. And it used to require a lot of lead time from 4 to 6 weeks for a part, but now it takes them just 2 days to print a tool. And last but not least, the new process means they're saving hundreds of thousands of euros every year. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, as it lets us know you enjoy our content and it helps other people find it through the YouTube algorithm. Next, Boeing has qualified Stratasys Antero 800NA for in-flight components. Now, this is the PEKK filament that we work with here, but the aerospace giant Boeing has finally qualified this relatively new material for actual flight parts. The PEKK-based polymer can now be used to create end-use components aboard Boeing's planes. End-use components, that's literally the stuff you're touching in the cabin of the plane. The aerospace vice president at Stratasys states that Boeing has recognized the tremendous utility of Antero to meet applications that couldn't have been 3D printed before. Additive manufacturing has tremendous benefits for simplifying aerospace supply chains, both in original equipment and maintenance, repair, and operations, but robust materials for meeting challenging flight requirements have still been needed. So Antero is a high-performance PEKK-based polymer designed for the F900 and Fortis 450 MC from Stratasys, and the other material in the category is the 840 CN03, a close relative with electrostatic dissipation qualities. With a tensile strength of 93 MPa and an elongation at break of 6%, this material aims to combine the excellent mechanical and low outgassing properties of PEKK with the design freedom of FDM 3D printing. The high strength, heat and chemical resistance, toughness, and wear resistance of the filament makes it an excellent jack of all trades, and is used often as an alternative to metals such as aluminum and titanium for aerospace applications. It's also way easier to print than PEKK, and we do that a lot here at Vision Miner, so definitely check it out. So Boeing has now added Antero to their QPL, or Qualified Products list, after extensive testing. It is the first of the Stratasys materials to actually be qualified by Boeing for its chemical and fatigue resistance capabilities. As you may remember, a few weeks ago, HexPEKK was just released, and that's another one for aerospace. So as you can see, a lot of these high temperature filaments are clearly becoming viable alternatives to metals and whatnot in the aerospace industry. This is awesome to see. Boeing, way to go. Also, if you want to learn more about PEKK, we've got an entire video all about it, so be sure to go check that out. Next, we've got BMW 3D printing parts at the track. So the BMW group has been big into additive manufacturing for many years. They got a huge campus in Munich, Germany. They're now taking it on the road and printing parts trackside. Their motorcycle racing unit has a portable 3D printer that travels to each event stationed near the pit area. This technology allows us to make improvements to the BMW S1000RR quickly and efficiently, says Mark Bongers, director of BMW Motorrad Motorsport. And we can use 3D printing to implement changes at the racetrack, even during race events. So when BMW engineers identify a component that could be improved, they print the plastic part at the track and test it for fitment and ease of installation. And as soon as the part is perfect, it gets sent off to Germany to get printed or made in metal or carbon fiber. For smaller components or spare parts that don't undergo extreme stress, like sensor holders or quick release couplings, the entire process takes on-site at the track, and they put those parts into use. They've already been using the on-site additive process to optimize bike parts, from brake ventilation systems, complex molded parts, titanium crash pads, aluminum distributor boxes, and aerodynamic trim parts. Now, we got more on this in a bit, where one of you guys is actually using BMW parts for the racetrack. Stay tuned, we'll get right into it. Next, we've got an Airbus firm delivering a 3D printed spare part that's actually going into flight. The firm Sat Air has provided a US airline customer with what it claims is the first certified metal printed flying spare part. They developed the 3D printed A320 CEO wingtip fences after this part supplier could no longer provide the originals. 3D metal printing was selected due to competitive costs, better lead times, increased flexibility of part production, and I would imagine that's about volume and customizability, because they can print the parts or change the parts on the fly without getting a run of 10 million made. These may be the first qualified parts or certified parts, but this is not the first time we've seen this. Earlier this year, Additive Flight Solutions received an AS9100D certification for its 3D printed aerospace parts. Stratasys 3D printers have been leveraged by other firms in this area, including GKN Aerospace, who's actually one of our clients. How's it going, guys? And aerospace specialist IDEC, using 3D printers to cut the cost of material waste involved in composite molding. And furthermore, back in January, Boeing completed its first flight of its 777X jet, powered by twin GE9X engines from GE Additive, which were equipped with over 300 3D printed parts. Sat Air has also already identified other titanium parts for which 3D printing could be a more economical way of production, citing higher flexibility and shorter lead times. Next, we've got Thermwood printing a 51-foot-long yacht mold out of ABS carbon fiber. They recently printed several sections for the whole mold for this 51-foot-long yacht, and using carbon fiber reinforced ABS, they developed a part that was strong enough, demonstrating that additive manufacturing has a card to play in the marine industry. Now, it's not the first time they've been in this sector. Back in 2017, they printed a master mold that was used to produce several smaller boat hull molds. This case study shows that a single mold can be used for the fabrication of larger vessels, such as yachts. Cincinnati also has the BAM, which is comparable in size. Hit us up if you want to hear more about that. So today there's a lot of ways to design large format printers. Some companies invest in 3D printers with huge plates, other companies use robotic arms for greater volume, but the majority of users are still going through long assembly process. Looking at the marine sector, you might remember the Mambo from last week. It's a 3D printed fiberglass boat using a similar process. So Thermwood also explained that they use their smallest 3D printer, the LSAM MT, which offers a print volume of 10 by 10 feet up to 5 feet tall. They are then chemically and mechanically bonded to create the entire mold using high-strength polymer cables to form the two halves. This basically shows to the industry that whatever the size or application, large-scale molds are possible. If you're in production tooling or mold making or anything like that, definitely start looking at 3D printing, especially for the big stuff. It can save you literally millions of dollars. So what do you guys think about 3D printed yachts? Let us know in the comments below or on our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram pages. We love hearing from you guys. Moving right along, we've got the news blitz. This week, lots of stuff happening. Let's get right into it. We've got mass customization of 3D printed electric vehicles. We've got Microsoft Flight Simulator being made more realistic thanks to 3D scanning. Next, we're reinforcing concrete with 3D printed polymer lattices. Fabrasonic is experimenting with hybrid 3D printing approaches. This is a really cool one, definitely check that out. In investor news, we have Additive 3D securing Arkema-led Series B funding to scale up production of printable photoresins. And we have researchers achieving cereal manufacturing via 3D printed algae-based healthy snacks. Next, we've got Formlabs releasing rigid 10K and draft resin for dental manufacturing and engineering. Love it when these guys come out with new stuff. It's amazing what you can do in SLA polymers. Chevrolet race cars cover 800,000 miles using 3D printed components. God, it's amazing stuff. Lots of racing, lots of aerospace, lots of things going on. Boats, dude, everything. It's great. So next we've got the community highlight. Now this is where we take one of you guys and the cool project that you or your business is doing and we feature it. So this week we've got Eric Erickson Design. This guy is making BMW race parts for older BMWs like the E36 and other models. And basically he's made new ram air induction and cooling products for older BMWs like the E36 3 Series and Z3 Roadsters. They're providing colder temperatures of air and far more airflow than the original or even most aftermarket parts, while still managing to utilize these stock mounting brackets and OEM style cleanliness. So Eric's designed these to be 3D printable from the beginning, specifically in ASA for FDM or in carbon fiber nylon for SLS. And they're already proving to withstand real life beatings, whether on the street and on the racetrack. Yes, literally the Nürburgring. To date, he's been selling his products to customers in over 30 countries. And on top of that, his first customer drove the entire season with his 3D printed brake cooling setup, winning his class in the Norwegian National Auto X Championship with his Z3 Coupe. In another instance, he actually worked on some custom parts, which are now inside of a 1,000 horsepower M Coupe Monster in San Diego. By the way, if you're ever up in Orange County with that thing, I want to see it. Definitely bring it by the shop, and we'll even shoot a video and show everybody how cool that really is. Anyway, here at Vision Miner, we sell machines and tools and services for high temperature performance thermoplastics like PEKK and Ultim. So if you're into that thing, give us a call or shoot us an email. We love hearing from you guys. And on that note, have a positive rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.